2025 is truly the year of the books. There are so many exciting new releases coming out in 2025. Honestly, having an author that you love come out with a new release, or having a new release that you're really excited for come out, is the best feeling in the world. There's nothing like it. So today I want to go through them and tell you guys the ones I'm most excited about. I feel like we have to start with the obvious, which is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Emily Henry release day is a national holiday in my house. I celebrate it very religiously. It's a very important day for me every year. I genuinely think I might call out of work this year because I am so excited for this book. This follows two writers who are competing to write a memoir on this reclusive heiress, and she invites both of them to stay with her for a month at her beach house. It's set on an island, and Emily Henry said it's really inspired by the last great American dynasty. Are you joking? When I read that, I am a last great American dynasty stan. I feel like that song is so slept on. When I went to the Eras tour, nobody reacted to that song in my section. Nobody cared except me screaming my head off. I was that girl. Nobody was giving that song the flowers it deserves. So when I saw Emily Henry was writing a romance novel based on that song, apologies now because I am going to be insufferable. Absolutely insufferable when that book comes out. Next, another one, like, let me just apologize now, even though I'm not sorry. Sunrise on the Reaping, Suzanne Collins' new book. It's another prequel to the Hunger Games universe, and it follows Hamish's games. I have been waiting for this book literally since 2009. I could not be more excited. I genuinely thought Hamish's games was just gonna be a pipe dream that would never come to fruition. So there are no words truly for how excited I am to read this book. I feel like it hasn't even really sunk in yet that I will be reading Hamish's games. I can't get over it. My favorite book series literally ever. Suzanne Collins could literally write down the alphabet and it would be a New York Times bestseller in my mind. Annabelle Monaghan is also releasing a new book. It's a love story. Does this cover literally look like Taylor Swift fanfiction? Yes. Does that make me more excited to read it? Yes. I love Annabelle Monaghan. I discovered her this year. I read all her books and I really loved all of them. So when I saw this cover, oh, I was sad. And the plot has nothing to do with Taylor. I don't think it's actually like inspired by her as a human, but like it's obviously inspired by Taylor. It's a love story and she's literally wearing like the Midnight's bodysuit. The main character in this one is a former child star. She played the quirky, awkward, young daughter friend type character, and now she's trying to get her TV show greenlit, and to do that she lies and says that the like #1 pop star right now is gonna write an original song for the show. Completely lies to her teeth, but the pop star is her first kiss and her childhood ex. So now she's back in her hometown to try and convince her ex to write the song for the TV show. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, another author I love so much. I swear my favorite authors this year wrote specifically for me. Like, they were in my diary, they were in my brain. It's the only explanation, because Ali Hazelwood writing a swimming romance, you're kidding. I was on the swim team, so when I saw this I screamed. It follows a competitive swimmer and a competitive diver as they're leading into Olympics season, and I believe it starts as a friends with benefits type situation. Also, please look at this cover. Like, I am going to be so feral. I'm so excited. Say You'll Remember Me, again, Abby Jimenez, one of my favorites. Love her so much. She never misses. Every year I look forward to her new releases. The main characters in this one go on a really good date, and it sounds like it lasted all day. They spent a lot of time together and really had a connection, but she has some sort of family crisis, and so she can't be in a relationship right now, but they have trouble ignoring that connection. Abby Jimenez is the queen of writing romances that also have more serious topics and undertones, which is what I love personally. I love when rom-coms are rom-coms. They're romantic and funny and fun, but also have more serious things going on. I just feel like it adds more depth and another layer to the story, and I just love Abby Jimenez. I know this is going to be good. The sequel to Heartless Hunter is also coming out, Rebel Witch. I recently read Heartless Hunter. It's a romantasy, and it's witch and witch hunter, and I was obsessed with it. I gave it 5 stars. One of my favorite reads of last year. I thought it was so good, so I can't wait to read the sequel and see where the story goes. Taylor Jenkins Reid is also coming out with a new release called Atmosphere. It's another historical fiction, but this one follows a woman who's training to be the first woman in NASA's space shuttle program. Honestly, her books can be a little hit or miss for me, but I think this one sounds really good. My dad is like the biggest space nerd. He knows everything about NASA, Apollo, the space program. We literally went to Florida and toured Cape Canaveral and looked at all the NASA stuff. So I feel like I have inherited that interest a little bit from him. So I'm really excited to read about her training for the space shuttle program. I think it's going to be really interesting. This book will bury me by Ashley Winstead, another author. I've read a few of her books and liked all of them. This follows an amateur sleuth. She's obsessed with true crime and she's part of this online community that try and solve cases, and they're trying to solve the murder of 3 college girls in Idaho. I think this sounds really interesting. I love when thrillers have an element like that, sort of a multimedia element, a podcast, something like that, and it seems like this book is going to have that same energy. We also have Wild Side by Elsie Silver coming out. This is the 3rd book in her Rose Hill series, which is a series of all single parent romances, which is my favorite trope. I am never going to say no to a single parent romance book. This one is Marriage of Convenience. The FMC has custody of her nephew. I think they get married for custody reasons or something like that. And from what they've hinted at in the previous books, because these are interconnected standalones, I think this could be my favorite in the series. Even though you don't get too much of them in the other books, every time I have seen them, I really liked them. And it sounds really just angsty and good. Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is also the 3rd book in a series, the When in Rome series. Again, I really liked the first 2 books in this series, specifically the second one, Practice Makes Perfect. I loved so much. The series follows siblings, and this is one of the sisters of the sibling set, and they're both 2nd grade teachers, and the main character also moonlights as a romance book author, and I think she accidentally emails the principal or something, and so she's afraid that they're gonna find out she has this secret life as a romance author, so she teams up with another 2nd grade teacher to help her, but they have a feud, so it sounds like an enemies to lovers. I love Sarah Adams' writing, and I love the setting for this series. It's literally Stars Hollow, and I just always love being in that world. Hannah Bonham Young also has a new release, Out of the Woods. She's the author of Out on a Limb, which I personally loved, and this one follows high school sweethearts. They've been together for 17 years, but they're having marriage problems, so they sign up for this intensive week-long hiking trip for couples to try and reconcile their marriage. I think this is a really interesting concept. I really don't read many romance books about married couples. I actually don't know if I ever have, so I'm excited to read a romance from a different perspective. I love second chance romances, so I think the storyline for this could be similar, even though they're not technically exes, they're still together. The 4th book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lila Sage is also coming out, Wild and Wrangled. This is another interconnected series, cowboy romances, similar vein to the Chestnut Springs series, and this is one of the siblings, Gus's baby mama. I don't really know how else to refer to her. They're not exes, they just had a one-night stand and she ended up getting pregnant. Now they have a daughter, Riley, who I believe is 6 years old, and so this is Riley's mom, and she gets left at the altar, and the love interest is her high school boyfriend, and to him she's the one that got away. I really loved Lost and Lassoed, which was the last book in the series, and I think her writing is just getting better, so I'm really excited to read this one. Lots of series in this video, but the 5th book in the Windy City series is also coming out. This is a series of interconnected standalone sports romances that all take place in Chicago across a few different teams. I think it's hockey, basketball, and baseball, and this is a side character that you've seen in like every book. I forget which team he's on. I don't remember what sport he plays, but he's been really funny in all the other books, and so there's no synopsis for this or anything yet, but I'm really excited to finally get his book. Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. This one follows a musician, songwriter, and her parents own a music venue. Where are my former band kids? Music kids, come to the front please. And she's in her hometown. I think she has writer's block or something it said, and she hears a song in her mind and she starts writing the song, and then the voice from her head shows up as a real person and they start writing the song together. Ashley Poston's books are really interesting because they always have a touch of magical realism, so I don't know exactly what that's gonna mean for this book, but I'm interested to find out, and I love reading about music and musicians. Carly Fortune also has a new release, One Golden Summer. Her covers are always so stunning. Like, look at this. I feel like they should be printed out and framed, not just on a book. They're so pretty. The main character on this spent the summer with her grandmother when she was 17 at her lake house, and she took a picture of her friends from that summer on a boat, and that picture ended up launching her photography career. And now it's years later and she's back at the lake house because her grandma broke her hip and she's helping her recover. And the love interest is one of the boys from that picture she took. Honestly, Carly Fortune's books can be a little hit or miss for me. I loved Every Summer After. I didn't like Meet Me at the Lake, and I liked This Summer Will Be Different, but it did take me a while to get into, so I really hope I end up loving this one. I love the vibe that her books always have, very summery lake house beach settings and past present timelines, which I love, so I'm really hoping that I end up liking this one. The last book in the Powerless series is coming out, Fearless. This is a romantasy series, again slightly hit or miss. I thought the first one was okay, and then I really didn't like the second one, but the way the second one ended, I feel like the third one is going to be so juicy and drama, and I'm really excited to read what happens, and I think it's going to be good. I hope it's going to be good. I guess we'll find out, but I'm definitely here for the drama on that one. Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. The main character in this one is grieving her best friend who she recently lost from cancer, and she has a babysitting job, and the love interest is the little girl she's babysitting's uncle, and she has this live again list, which basically sounds like a bucket list, and he offers to help her complete them. I think it's set in New York City, which I love, and not single parent trope, but single parent trope adjacent. And again, I love when a rom-com also has a more serious vibe to it, so I think this sounds like it'll be really good. Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. This is a dark romance. It's the sequel to Lights Out, which I read recently and didn't think I was gonna like because it's so out of my comfort zone and just wild, but I actually ended up really loving it, so I am excited for the second one to come out. This one is a mafia romance though, I believe, and I've never read one of those before, so I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'll like it, but I also said that about the first one and then loved it. So main characters, I've never read from this author before. This might be her debut, I'm not sure, but it's billed as The Parent Trap for adults. Sold. That's quite literally all I had to hear. I love The Parent Trap. I was obsessed with that movie when I was younger, so you got me. This one is two sisters, and they both spent a month each summer at their father's lake house. Again, are you sensing a pattern? I love a lake house. But they visited separately. So even though they're half-sisters who each spent time at this house every summer, they've never met. And now their father has passed away, and they have to come together and live at the house for a month and meet each other and reconcile their relationship or create their relationship, because it didn't exist, which is just such an interesting perspective to read from. Never Been Shipped by Alicia Thompson. This is another one that I'm like, this is just so made for me. It's about a band, and they were really famous as teenagers. I don't know if this is true, but it is kind of giving to me like almost like a Big Time Rush type band. It says they got started on a TV show, so that's what I'm assuming. And now it's 15 years later and they're reuniting on a themed cruise. I love a cruise. Like a band on a cruise is so me. I can't wait. But the guy has been in love with the girl from the beginning, but she was dating one of the other band members. Drama. I think this sounds so fun. This next book, there is quite literally zero information about, but it's the sequel to Sunshine, and I loved this book. It came out this year. I am obsessed with it. 5-star read. It's Friday Night Lights, cowboy, small town, past and present vibe, and this is the sequel. That's literally all I know. I have a feeling I know which character it's going to be about, but there's no title, no cover, no synopsis, nothing. But I loved Sunshine so much, and I am so excited to keep reading this series. Last but not least, we have Ashley Herring Blake's new release, Dream On, Ramona Riley. This is the author of the Sunshine Falls series, which is a series I really like, specifically Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I love. This is a sapphic romance. The one girl is a small town waitress who wanted to be a costume designer, but just ended up stuck in her hometown. And there's a rom-com filming in their small town, and she realizes that the star of the rom-com rom-com was Her First Kiss, so another second chance romance. I love rom-coms, so the fact that they're filming a rom-com is so fun to me, and I love A Small Town, and I feel like her writing style is just gonna fit so well with this synopsis. That was the last one I had on my list. Honestly, there was even more that I saw that I didn't put in this video. There are so many good sounding new releases for 2025. If you're still watching, comment down below what book you're most excited for in 2025. If you want to find me anywhere else, I'll have all my other socials down below as always, and thank you so much for watching.